right, welcome to the Side Action. First of all, it's episode 200 of the Side Action, Coop.
Oh
But
yeah.
we're in episode 8, season 7. My name is Jim Wegler, aka Wegs. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Wegspool.
And I'm Coop. You can check me out on Instagram at Dalton Cooper, on X at Mr. Grumpy Gills. Again, we are the Side Action Podcast. Make sure to check us out on all the socials, iPod or iTunes, everything you catch your podcast at, you can catch us on. So, how's island life treating you?
It's okay. Mama Wegs is here. She's over here on the patio. So she arrived on Wednesday evening. So that was nice. She's trying to get used to the time zone. It's a little cloudy
Nice.
today. It's not as bright as normal. It's weird. What the hell? Where's the sun? But no, it's 85 every day. It's it gets a little tiresome actually. It's like there's not a lot of variability. So maybe I should be excited about the clouds, but things are fine. How about yourself? You got the braids.
uh,
You got the braids are back, baby.
yeah, we did the hair, so just figured switch. I'm gonna have to let it down, if you will. So I figured I'd put it up until that point, if anything. But yeah, it's been chill. Nothing too crazy. Last weekend we did all the fall things. Obviously, we did the creepy cruise, which is like the scenic tour. We were at Dana's party, and you're like, have you ever done that? I was like, no. So then, of course, by nature, and that was
Yeah.
our next date, if you will. So, we're supposed to go out tonight to some Halloween bar down in Wrigleyville, down on Clark Street. So, gonna do that. We're supposed to go to New Buffalo tomorrow, and then yeah, we'll see what happens. So
What's
nothing
in
too
New
crazy though.
Buffalo? Is that with James
I
or is that
just no, I just think she wants to go just to go.
okay?
So
There's a
we're gonna make
casino over there. There's a
make a
casino.
day trip out of it.
Um,
So
yeah, for me, like last weekend was pretty fun. I'll try to keep it short because we got a shorter timeline here. But Friday was like total bar hopping, hit like 5 different bars, which was kind of fun. And then Saturday, two things happened. One, Paul, it was his last weekend here. He's like, let's get a massage. I'm like, hey, I'm not really a massage guy. But
nice.
he set it up. He set it up an appointment. We went over there, and it wasn't a couples massage. He was like having, but I go up there, these Chinese ladies. I didn't understand a word they were saying. They're like, go in here, and like I said, get undressed, whatever. And then next thing you know, they're kind of in and out of the room like 5 times. I don't know what's happening. Then one girl like jumps on my back, and then the next thing you know, I feel another person on my legs, and they're like, ah. And I think they said 4. I didn't hear it, but they're like 4, 120. It was supposed to be a $60 massage, right, for an hour, which seemed reasonable. And it's like 120, 120. And I'm like, what? Huh? Okay. And like then I proceeded to get a 4-hand massage, and it's not really hands, Coop. It's a lot of elbows and forearms,
Oh
and it
yeah.
was like they were destroying me. Oh, I'm still feeling it in my like I don't know lats, I guess it would be, or center part of the back, rhomboids. I don't know. And they were just like, "Ugh," and then they're like, "Do you want medium or hard?" I'm like, "Hard," and then like, yeah, I'm like, "No, medium." So they're like, so you've got the sensation of somebody digging into your shoulders and your traps, and then somebody just crushing my Achilles, like going with the forearm up and down. So that after an hour of that, I was kind of, whatever, a little bit out of it, and they're like, 30 minutes more? I'm like, no. They're like, more? I'm like, no more. They're like, more? I'm like, finished.
Yeah.
Stop.
You just gotta be
Stop
careful
it.
what you wish for. You gotta be careful
Right.
what you wish for.
So it was like, whatever, 150 with the tip. I was like, I got to get out of here. And then he opted for the extra 30 minutes, but he only had one person
Hmm.
who actually spoke to him the whole time. They were speaking in Chinese. At the time, I didn't know the language. I didn't understand a word. So I was like, yep, they're talking with each other. They spoke to me like for 5 seconds. So, and then
Nice.
we went out that night. There may have been, a dance club with ladies that were not as well clad as we are. And then there was a big nightclub. So it was an insane night. I slept. We were out till 3. I was kind of cashed out.
Oh my God, you
So,
cashed out? No way.
well, I have to manage it. I'm working so much. I could have probably played volleyball with these guys, but it's like then I enter the week on just detriment, deficit the whole week. So I'm trying to
Yeah.
do better, Coop. It's hard to do, but I'm trying.
Huh.
So I can see you have copious notes here in the outline, so I'm going to put you on the spot right away.
Sure.
Who are you taking to the shed this week? I'm sure you have it.
So, oh yeah. So I have two in the shed. So hockey started Tuesday night, obviously.
Yes.
The game that I'm referring to was Wednesday night, but the Toronto Maple Leafs got beat 1-0 by the Canadiens. They had 43 shots and couldn't score.
Ooh.
But the reason why they're getting taken to the shed is because their shutout streak got broken. So they had a 227 game non-shutless streak. So they had it'd been almost 3 years since they had been shut out. The last time was November 21st of 2021. So they were coming up on the 1 year, or I guess the yearly anniversary of that date. So yeah, see you later. Couldn't score, kind of like myself. Get out of here. We'll see you later. So yeah, that's the first thing. And then you have Aaron Rodgers. I think Robert Saleh got taken to the shed. So I think not hugging, or I think just the whole hugging thing, was one, and then obviously losing to the Broncos on 10 days for preparation, and not even scoring a touchdown will do you in. But yeah, I mean, if you're not if the hugging thing, I think, was the final straw. I think Woody Johnson's a big hugger, so I think that was the final straw for him.
Yeah, well, nice transition. I do have Aaron Rodgers, but I think it's twofold. It's not just originally I wrote this up earlier in the week before Salah got fired. You didn't mention that, but first of all, he had a terrible performance in London. I mean, 53.7% completion. He did have 2 touchdowns, but 3 interceptions, including a terrible pick 6 where he just threw it right to the zone drop guy, and he just went to the house. But I kind of think it's a bunch of bullshit, right? We know that Salah was going to fire the offensive coordinator. There's no question. I mean, the guy's garbage, right? He was garbage in Denver, and he's garbage here. But that he's saying he had nothing to do with it. He was blindsided. We all know it's a lie. Come on.
Right.
He's saying that publicly. We know it's a lie. Woody Johnson, maybe hug or no hug. I think he just said, basically, Rodgers said it's Salah or me. I don't know why you're picking a 40-year-old dude who can't play, but anyway, Aaron, there's maybe some ayahuasca on the floor back there. Maybe that'll help you get out of the shed, but get back there and see what you can do. And you and Robert can work it out in the shed. Who's your second guy?
You're on your second guy.
Okay, I'll go to my second guy. So this is obviously it's the highs and lows of college football. We probably should have known it was a letdown spot, but Kellen DeBoer, who's the coach of Alabama, obviously taking over after Nick Saban, the legendary one. Come on, dude. You can't follow a win against Georgia, the biggest win of probably his career, likely, to a loss at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt hasn't beaten like a top 10 team. I think the stat was like back in like the 90s or something, that they haven't beaten a top 10 team. Vanderbilt never beats anybody. In fact, I don't know if you saw the clip that they kept showing on the screen that Nick Saban says, we don't worry about Vanderbilt or something.
Yeah.
They kept playing that. But Vandy gets the win 40-35. I mean, I get it. Kids were probably looked past them and all, but coach, it's up to you, man, to get them to ready to go. And you can't lose that ball game, but you did. And you actually got outplayed. I mean, 40-35, it wasn't like a low scoring,
Yeah.
They gave up tons of scores.
Their defense is really bad, and they're just like, they're positionally bad. They're never in the right spot. They're not disciplined. I can't tell how many times I watch the highlights of that game, and there's 3 guys chasing the quarterback, and they just leave the running back all by himself. Just dump it off, or a little sidearm here, and just little things, just easy stuff. So
yeah, for sure. So, any more people for the shed? I mean, Kalen's in there. We got Robert. We got Aaron. Did you say you had a second person, or that's that?
Yeah, I put the Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs shutout
Maple
streak.
Leafs. That's right. My bad.
Oh yeah.
There's always a full team in the shed. They got to make room back there. So in Club Dub, I see a note here. Maybe that's an error there. But who do you have in Club Dub this week?
So the first one, we're going with Dylan Gunther. Not to be confused with the wrestler, but the hockey player. So he scored the first ever goal in Utah Hockey Club history. So he'll live in trivia forever, for one thing. And then last night he scored the overtime winner, and he's actually leading the league in goals. He's a 22-year-old forward. So rookie season, playing pretty well out of the gate. He's in Club Dub. Just why not? It's early, and he's taking advantage of it. So I don't know if you saw any of the if you watched any hockey while you're out in Hawaii. But
I don't-
they obviously have speaking of the hockey club, the Utah Hockey Club. Did you know we're putting the Utah Bear in Club Dub as well, just because he's double dutying this year for mascot duties. He's going to be the
Is
Jazz Bear for obviously the Jazz, and he's also going to be the mascot for the hockey club. So what I've learned this week is there's no union in the mascot world apparently. So he's just getting overworked, overworked, he or she. So and then Kerry Carpenter is in Club Dub. Obviously the Tigers and Guardians are playing game 5, I think tonight, if I'm not mistaken, maybe tomorrow. But Kerry Carpenter hit a 3-run home run on the top of the ninth Sunday afternoon, and that was the difference in the game. That was a big moment for the Tigers. So I don't think the Tigers have a chance to beat the Yankees. I think maybe the Guardians could do it just because they have enough pitching. But I mean, the Tigers have been the hottest baseball team on the planet since August 11th. So, but yeah, that's who we had in Club Dub.
Nice. Well, I've got Cam Ward. He's quarterback of the U. He's definitely bolstering his Heisman hopeful. But in that game, they were down at Cal 35-10. Coop, I know you saw the game in the third quarter, and then he just kind of brought it back. I mean, 437 yards passing and 2 touchdowns, a rushing touchdown. He did an interception there. They come all the way back and win this game, which, it's one of those weekends where, and we'll talk about it a little bit in a minute, if you were a top 25 team, you had a target on your back. I mean, you were losing left and right, and they did get the win. Now, they probably shouldn't have won the game, but Cam Ward obviously helped his chances. Him and the guy in Boise seem to be the leaders, right now of that race right now. And then Joe Flacco, dude, he's back in. You can't doubt Joe Flacco. I mean, the guy is incredible. They did lose the game against the Jags, but he put up 359 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. I mean, he's like timeless. And did you also see the stat that he had his fastest running time per whatever stats they give in his career when he did a little 6-yard scamper. They said he's never run faster in his career. I thought that was kind of funny. Joe Flacco's not really known for his speed. It was not quite like Kyler Murray's 22 miles an hour, which I don't know if you saw that. He ran a 50-yard, touchdown. That was like the fastest quarterback ran this year. But for Joe Flacco in his career, Joe, run as fast as you'd like, right into Club Dub. You've got a spot already from last week. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. No, that was a nice little 50-yarder that he had there. That was going crazy because where were we watching that game? Oh, we went to a Dan Levitard watch party. That's right. We went to Joe's.
That's right. How was that? The Joe's on Wheat.
Yeah, that was a good time. But yeah, he took off, and it was just that he's on my fantasy team. So I was like, oh my God, here we go. So, but yeah, it was a good time.
Good start. Let's jump into college football. Last week, as I mentioned, was a crazy weekend. We'll start off with UNLV. You said crazy things happen on Friday, and they do. Syracuse went out there, and they were 6.5-point dogs, and they got the win in overtime. Now, I think they still would have covered the number at 6.5, but if you looked at this game, there was kind of a pretty crappy roughing the passer call on UNLV in overtime that kind of gave Syracuse the chance to get in this and make it happen. So they, the Qs won the game 44-41 in OT, but UNLV falls from the ranks of the unbeaten, and now they're going to have to beat Boise if they have any chance to kind of steal that, outside the Power 5 or Power 5 conferences. And then hopefully I didn't lose you, Coop. Missouri and Texas A&M. This was one we talked about last week. Missouri was the 9th-ranked team, Texas A&M 25. Apparently, they don't have any defense because Texas A&M just destroyed this team. And Tommy Doherty, my cousin, went to Missouri. He's got his own podcast, Friday Night Beers. But I'm sure he was not happy with this outcome, where they just got housed 41-10. And maybe the Aggies are pretty good. I know that they lost to Notre Dame early, but they're not a bad team. So if you put this with Notre Dame, strength of schedule maybe matters at some point.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm out on Missouri. Their defense is just bad. There's a lot of metrics that were pointing to them being suspect. The more I kind of dig into them, and then there was a couple, especially in this game, that were actually kind of in their favor as opposed to like pressure rate of Texas A&M and some other things. and they just completely got destroyed. I'm totally out on Missouri. I know we were talking about Missouri in the very beginning and how they brought everybody back, but this team does not look like a cohesive unit, if you will.
Yeah. They still have an easy schedule, so they probably they have a chance to make the playoff, but we know we can fade them when it comes to that. Ole Miss, we talked about this, traveled on the road to South Carolina. They did not get beat. They went in what they were supposed to do and bounced back after that loss against Kentucky. This time 27-3 on the road. So they cover that 9.5 easily. So good for Jackson Dart and the crew. We talked about Washington and Michigan, and I was kind of surprised Washington's favored, but maybe not. Washington takes down the Wolverines, and they won 27-17. It was a hard-fought game. I think this game was pretty tight. It was 10 points wasn't really the margin in this one, but Huskies get their revenge for the national championship loss last year.
Yeah, it was kind of it was. I think Michigan played 3 different quarterbacks in this game too, if I'm not mistaken. So. Yeah, they have a real identity crisis going on in Michigan right now. So I don't know what that's going to result in as far as like changes, but 8 wins maybe is the ceiling for this team.
Yeah, usually if you have 3 quarterbacks, you don't have one.
Any quarter, yeah, exactly.
Louisville was a team that got knocked off too. They were 6.5-point favorites. SMU now is 2-0 in the ACC. They get the big win at Louisville. 34-27. Maybe they're a dark horse team to make it to the ACC final. They're kind of taking the league by storm so far. Pitt actually, this one you got right. This one, Coop. This was a rough week for you. North Carolina stinks. We know this, but so Pitt covers a 2.5. They win 34-24. What happened to JMU, man? What happened to this team?
I don't know. I didn't even watch it. I didn't have a chance to. All I did was look at the box score. I was looking at the box scores. It was happening live, and all I could feel was disappointment. I don't know. I did just penalties. They did everything they got rid of the previous 3 weeks. It all came to fruition. So apparently they didn't get the skunk out of the boat. It was just hidden somewhere.
Yeah, Louisiana Monroe played them tough, 21-19. Maybe it's just. Maybe it was just a spot that they just weren't ready for. I'm sure they're going to be good the rest of the season, but they didn't help you jump on the bandwagon, as did Toledo. Actually, did I make this wrong? This is wrong. They did cover, right?
They did cover, yeah.
Okay, I marked this wrong. So Toledo actually got it done in this one. So this has been a good spot. But you like this team, the Rockets, right? So they beat. This guy loves the MAC. He's a MAC guy. They cover 30-20 over Miami, Ohio. So hopefully, I don't know if you have Western Kentucky last night, also a MAC team. So maybe you just keep rolling in the MAC this week.
I think we do have one in the MAC this week. Yeah.
So week 7, there's some huge games. I mean, like monster games. Maybe not Alabama, Georgia, but pretty close. You got the Red River rivalry going. Now, one of the things that changed in this one, since they're in the SEC, they moved this game to 2:30 Central instead of 11:30, which is usually like the first game, get your Bloody Mary and get going. Texas is the number 1 team in the nation. They're playing Oklahoma, the 18th team in the nation. Now they don't play. They're playing in the Cotton Bowl, so it's not really a home game. It's a neutral site game every year, and but Texas is a heavy favorite. Put this in wrong. 14.5 points, and the total's 50.5. It is, I love Texas. You like them for the title, but it's hard. Oklahoma's not a terrible team, and we did see them lose obviously big numbers to Tennessee. So are you gonna lay the wood here in the Red River rivalry against Oklahoma at 14.5 with Texas?
I mean, I'm staying away from this game, but I would take Texas. Yeah, I would swallow the points for sure. Yeah, Oklahoma got really lucky to even beat Auburn. It took a miracle pick 6 for that to happen. So, and they're starting a freshman quarterback. And Texas may have the best offensive and defensive. I mean, obviously their defensive line is not as good as their offensive line, but it's still a good defense. It's no pushover itself. So I think they're going to create enough pressure. The only thing that maybe I could see is just the mobility for Oklahoma's quarterback. And I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's got great mobility. He's a good runner.
Yeah, the freshman.
Yeah, so if he can maybe break away.
Clint Ewers will start this week for Texas.
I believe he's supposed to, so that's another reason why I like Texas too, because he probably wants to come back and play well just to make sure he solidifies. Not that he has to solidify his position, but I'm sure in his mind he would like to.
I gotcha. Okay, and then this is the big one is Ohio State, the second-ranked team goes to Oregon, third-ranked team. Or Ohio State's a 3-point favorite on the road, 53.5 point total. This is at 6:30 p.m. Central. This is like the game of the year part two to me. Like first was the Georgia Alabama. Now you've got this game. This is probably the Buckeyes' toughest game this year, besides maybe Michigan, which is down this year. So, do you think the Buckeyes are game to get this win against the Ducks?
No.
Okay.
No, I think Will Howard struggles in this spot. Going across the country, I don't know if the weather's anything like it was last night in Seattle. But yeah, if it's rainy and wet and just shitty, I don't think that favors the Buckeyes any. I think that actually hinders them a little bit. Even though they do run the football well, I just think that's a tough place to play. First of all, communication is going to be very key for them. But yeah, I think Oregon is getting right to where Ohio State has not stepped up in class yet.
True.
I guess Oregon really hasn't played anybody tough either. They've just kind of taken a minute to get their shit together, if anything. But
right.
No, I like the Ducks here. I think everybody's gonna be talking about the Buckeyes, which I think helps the Ducks. I also think these two teams are gonna play later, and I think that gives the edge to Ohio State. So because they'll probably be at a neutral site at that point.
Yeah. It's different to go to. What is it called? What is it? Osman Stadium? I can't remember what it's called out there. The Duck Stadium. Okay, and then what? Ole Miss, the ninth seed or the ninth ranked team, is going to the 13th ranked team LSU, another road favorite. 3.5 for Ole Miss and Jackson Dart trying to keep it rolling. LSU hasn't played wonderful, but they've got a pretty good ranking here. 3.5 seems like a lot of points to be on the road, but that total 61.5. I mean, obviously, I think there's going to be some points scored in this one. Who would you lean to in this one?
I would lean toward LSU just because I think I'm playing more of the number here. Like I'm playing more of the hook, honestly. So an Ole Miss with expectation has already let us down once this year. So I don't know if I'm willing to commit, more to just. It seems like they're more of an offensive-driven team, so they're more likely going to get in a shootout. So I would hold my breath and just take the over and just watch it for fun. But yeah, if I had to pick a number, I would lean toward the hook.
Nice. And then another night game is 18th ranked K-State at Colorado. Another road favorite, 4.5 for K-State, 56.5 point total. Can the Buffs pull the upset? They've played better this year than expectations. I think their wins expectations like 5.5 or 6 this year. They've already got 4 wins or whatever. So they're definitely. Is it 5?
It took the over.
One more.
Yeah.
K-State came off the big win from last week, but what do you think? Do you think the Buffs can do it on this one?
I don't think so. I think K-State's too physical. I don't think it's a very good matchup for Colorado. Colorado could prove me wrong. I think the K-State's defense will be able to get pressure on Shedeur, and just like any other quarterback in this world, if you can get pressure on them, they turn into a different quarterback. So, I like the ball control of Kansas State as well. I think that that loss. Sometimes losses can be a good. I think that loss they had a couple weeks ago to BYU really woke this team up a little bit. They're definitely starting to play some better ball.
Okay. Well, let's go over your picks. You obviously mentioned Oregon plus the 3 already. So you like Kansas State minus the 4.5. So what are the other two games you like?
We're also going to go with Iowa. They already bit me in the ass once this year, but I think this is a good spot. Washington's coming off, a big win over Michigan. I think that they're traveling to Iowa. I think it's a good little letdown spot. I think Iowa's going to have a lot of success running the ball, and that should definitely lean toward their favor. So Caden McNamara can't screw this game up for us. So we'll see what happens in that one. And then we're tailing Kent State all year. They're the worst defense in the country by far. There's so many metrics that are just gaudy, if you will. And Ball State is traveling to Kent State. They're minus 4.5. So we're gonna lay the 4.5. And we're going to just keep on rooting for the points, baby, because we're taking the over.
Yeah, over. Kent State, Golden Flashes, no defense.
No defense.
Let's go Ball State. Okay, good. I like that the MAC keeps appearing on your list like every single week.
Yeah, Battle of the Birds. We've got like the Cardinals, right, against the Flashes. Yeah.
Golden Flashes. Is a Golden Flash a bird?
I think you're right. Well, they have like the hawk or something, I think is their mascot. Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense.
Or Falcon.
All right, well, let's jump into the NFL, Coop. We've got week 5. Favorite struck back, dude. It was 9 and actually I think that's 10 and 4. Right. Update that. 10 and 4. And overs make a comeback. Although Monday night was an under, so it was actually now a split. They split the totals were split last week. So maybe you're getting a little bit more regulating in the market. Like things are actually coming back to balance where the favorites are coming back a little bit. But interesting week, Coop. I had a pretty good week personally. We didn't do good in the contest again. Actually, not on the same page on a couple of these.
Too
I
many
like
voices.
Minnesota. I like Minnesota. They did win the game. They obviously covered. They won 23-17. You cannot doubt the Sam Darnold, the ginger. But more importantly, the defense is playing really good. This is the number one defense. The Vikings are number one defense in the NFL. They have a bye this week, but they are playing really well. They did have a bit of a comeback for the Jets, but obviously not enough to keep Robert Sala's job. And then the Bears, 3.5-point favorites. They just throttled the Panthers. So this was an easy one, 36-10. Second straight win for the Bears. Are they going to be the new Cowboys or the Dolphins where they prey on the weak? Maybe. So we'll see this week against the Jags. But the Bears get their second win at home, which is nice to see. And the commies, dude, this is the one he couldn't get on board with me, man. It was like the Browns, they just destroyed them. This is a legit squad. Jaden Daniels is the man, dude. I mean, 34-13. This game was never in doubt. More importantly, the Browns are in complete disarray. So what do you have to say about the Browns or the commies?
I mean, Washington's looking more formidable. That's for sure. I mean, they've looked formidable, but I guess the way they keep putting in week after week, it's hard to deny at that point. But yeah, I think this is more about Cleveland. Like Deshaun Watson literally quit on the field, and
yeah,
I don't know what you do with Oregon. They're screwed. Like they are literally screwed. They cannot do anything because you can't fire Stefanski. He's won coach of the year twice. Why would you? It's not
last year.
Yeah,
He
it's
won
literally
last
not
year.
his. It's literally not his. It wasn't his decision. Like he was dealt this hands. I don't know what you do. I mean, yeah, we thought Denver was screwed. I mean, Cleveland is completely. I mean, Cleveland
Yeah.
tells Denver to hold my beer, basically.
Well, they got from under it with Wilson by the trade. So the thing about, and you probably saw the play where it was like Stefanski wanted to go for fourth down and like Sean Watson just walks off the field. I mean, what the hell is going on here? Like, can he coach this team? Like, they allow him to coach the team? If Haslam wants it this way, then maybe he should get down there and try to coach and lose all the rest of their games. So Cleveland a pretty clear fade right now.
Well, the Broncos
Houston,
had to buy out Russell Wilson, by the way. They didn't trade him with the
yeah,
Steelers. He
that's
signed
a
on
good
free
point.
agency. So they have like $80 million in dead cap because of that. So
good
yeah.
point.
But the Browns can't do anything because they would have like they would owe him like 190 or like it's like a certain date even. So like it keeps going up. So yeah, wild stuff.
Why they did that, I have no idea.
No
The
idea.
Browns. So Houston, they covered a short number, 1 point in this one against the damn it, who did they play again? They played the Bills. That's right. And this game was actually, I thought the Texans kind of not dominated them. They played really well in this one, but then at the end, they just totally started flubbing the game because they held Josh Allen for like 9 for 30 in the game or something, and he was probably concussed at the end, obviously.
Yeah.
But neither team really wanted this to end properly, I guess. Like CJ Stroud threw this weird, intentional grounding ball, right? It was like, what is he doing? Then they decide to throw the ball 3 straight times when you're the Bills, give the ball back to the Texans, and of course Fairbairn's the best, man. He hits a net 59-yarder to win. So the Texans have kind of fared pretty well early in the season with a pretty tough schedule. So they're setting up pretty good.
Yeah, and that's another thing. The storyline of that game was the whole Josh Allen saga that had just because you could tell he looked like he lost consciousness on the field, like when he took a hit,
boom.
like in his head hit, and you could tell it was like full speed. I mean, that's a big man. So that to me is alarming. That is kind of terrifying, honestly. So, to your point, I think it definitely affected his play. I think it might affect his play moving forward. Like I would kind of keep an eye on that, just because if you get knocked out, as we see, you get knocked out like that, he may not be right until he gets a week off, even. So I don't know how they're holding him at practice, or how if they are holding him out of practice, how they're treating it. But yeah, there's no way he feels right now.
he went in the tent and popped right back out. And I'm like, this is independent. They didn't pull him out of the game initially. I'm like, this is crazy. This is like, he played by one play, one snap or something. It was really strange. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, so much for
This was
player safety.
Yeah, this was kind of a bad beat. We did pick Cincinnati. Cincinnati was plus
Oh,
2.5. I know this was almost
rip
the
my heart
formal.
out.
This was the Roth IRA pick of the week. So I don't know, man. They played so good. I mean, Cincinnati was 5 touchdown passes from Burrow. They were up by 10 like 2 or 3 different times in this game. They had limited Derrick Henry to like 22 yards or something for the first 4 quarters, and then somehow I don't know, like they got conservative. So what happens in this game is Baltimore comes all the way back and ties the game. They go to overtime. That was awesome by them, obviously. But they get the ball in overtime. Lamar just drops the ball at like midfield. And so what do? They like run the ball on the line 3 times, and then they go for a 53-yarder, and then the holder kind of drops the ball. It's a tough snap. It was up his chest. He drops the
Rookie.
ball, get it down right fast, and then McPherson, who never misses, and then Baltimore ends up ripping off a huge run by Henry, who goes over his rushing prop, and they actually break 100 yard, all that kind of stuff. But they lose the game 41-38. Like, it's the defense, obviously, that sucks, because the offense is just, I mean, Jamar Chase had 189 yards or something in the goddamn game. It's incredible. So it's just tough. Cincinnati 1-4, as Burrow said, they're not a championship team. They're definitely not my championship
No, you gave him the Wegs curse. You picked him again. That's
team. I
why.
did. I know.
Um,
Sorry.
do you know there's only been one team in NFL history to make the playoffs after going 1-4? Can you name that team?
Oh boy, I don't know if I can do that. Oh,
But you love them
Jaguar,
so much.
Jaguars.
No, the Commanders did in 2020.
Oh, nice. Is
Yeah.
that a
So
Taylor Heineke led team? Wow. Okay.
yeah, that was the year they beat the most fraud 11-0 Steelers of all time. Most fraud 11-0 team of all time in the Steelers. So, yeah, you got Joe Burrow, which helps, but man, yeah, that ripped my heart out because we were at that watch party and there was a couple Ravens fans and I was like the only Bengals fan, and yeah, like you said, they're up 10 like almost all of the second half. They even got down
Yeah.
7-0 early. They came all
Yeah.
they got a quick touchdown right at halftime or right after halftime to really establish what they were doing, and they were averaging 3.5 yards a carry, and they run 3 straight run plays, which is crazy because actually it was admitted that Joe Burrow checked out of a pass call into a run call just because of the defensive front. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know what you're gonna do, but yeah, that's tough. I have a hard time talking about it. I'm getting upset, emotional.
Sorry, Coop. Sorry, Coop.
Mm.
So then the Jags. Okay, they're definitely going to win, which they won the game. Congratulations, Jags. But they were a three
Yeah,
point favorite, and Joe Flacco gets them the push. And that one came down to a late field goal too, because these games were all coin flips, like especially early. Besides a couple of blowouts, but like some of those games in that one window, Houston, Cincinnati, Jags. These were really exciting games to watch. Happy to see Trevor Lawrence bounce back. It was Tank. It was Tank though, Bigsby, who really got it done. I mean, he had like it was like an 80-yard, 90-yard run or something, but he was tough. He got it done. So the Jags do get off the schneid, but they don't cover the number. It was a push, and that was our push in the contest.
yeah, and they go home to London now. They play home games, so
Exactly. Actually, we didn't pick the Jags. My mistake. It was a push. We didn't get that one. Okay, but Denver we did pick. Denver was maybe not, a given, because we knew that there was a lot going on with the Raiders, and then we'll see. We'll talk in a minute. They're going to AOC now, even O'Connell. But the Broncos came out and they took care of business. They were down 10-0 early, and then they just flipped the script and won 34-18 going away. Knicks looked pretty good, and in the end, they covered the 3 points. But the primetime games, Coop, these were not so good. Steelers, look, when I look at this game, I watched the whole game. I didn't get to watch a lot of the games during the day because things happen so goddamn early here in Hawaii. But I was going to watch this game. All right, here we go. We're 2-1 in the contest. We're doing pretty good. We got 2 primetime games. The Steelers are playing great. Dallas is playing like crap. Guess what? Dallas played great. Their defense played awesome. They really were. The offense was running the football. I'm like, who is this? McCarthy, he looked at some film or something, and they kind of, in the fourth quarter, Pittsburgh could not get off the field. They could not stop them on third down. And in the end, they still had a chance, Pittsburgh, to cover this number and win. But I mean, they got 3 turnovers on defense and a blocked kick, and they still somehow let Dallas drive the entire length of the field late in the game and score on 4th goal from like the 6. I thought when that one play, I don't know if you saw it, that one dude they put on for the Steelers, I can't remember his name, he's a linebacker. They just put him in goal line, and he just flies around, and he just popped the ball with his face mask out of Dowdle's hands or whatever, and it went from the 1 yard line down to like the 6. And I'm like, oh my God, we got a shot now. Then 2 plays later, they scored, and then Steelers lose. So 2017, Dallas wins, gets a big win.
Yeah, that was just the Steelers with expectations. They just never play well. I don't get it. I just
True.
don't. I don't off. They'll start playing well, and as soon as you expect them to play well, they'll suck. I don't get it. I really don't. They can't run the football. Najee Harris is like allergic to getting more than 4 yards when he gets the football. I don't understand. Yeah.
Well, they need the other guy in there.
Jalen Warren. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got some pop. Najee is just a grinder. He doesn't really move. He doesn't have any shake or bake. So the other thing is they're not getting the ball to Pickens enough. I mean, it's like you just get him on whatever, screens or quick slants or something. He's getting double teamed. I get it, but it's a little rough out there.
Fireman's had a good game, I think. Yeah.
He did have a big game. And then Monday night, I guess the Chiefs are pretty good. They came out and just destroyed the Saints. It wasn't even close. I mean, I was hoping for a backdoor cover here at the 5.5, and it just, I was tracking the game because by the time I get home, the game's over. It's kind of sucks. But I'm tracking the game like, oh, Kansas City is just dominating every aspect of this football game. There was one point where there was maybe a blocked field goal, a lot of blocked field goals this week, and then they they did get within like 6 points or something. I'm like, okay, or it was in 3 points. All right, we got a shot. Nah, no shot. Chris Jones is obviously in shape now. He was playing like a man, and Kansas City wins the game 26-13.
Yeah, and Derek Carr's injured too. Your take on Dennis Allen being the first coach fired technically isn't right, but it's making a comeback the last couple of weeks. It's definitely leaning that way. So we'll see what happens.
There's props on next coach fired, Coop. Don't worry.
Okay.
So we
didn't. You had Robert Saleh on your bingo card. You're a winner.
Right. We didn't mention your squad, the Finns. The Finns did get a win. I didn't put them on the list. They got the 15-10 win. It was such a boring game, but they did get up. They did get off the schneid. They beat New England, who stinks. Mm-hmm. So. Oh, yeah. All right. So on week 6, we've got 4 teams on bye. We got the Chiefs, Dolphins, Rams, and Vikings. So it's just a 14-game slate again. Last night, maybe it was a known spot, but San Francisco, after we didn't talk about them, should have put them. They weren't on our card. So Arizona came back. They were getting crushed in that game, came all the way back to win the game outright. So I knew San Francisco had to win this game. So, the Giants also beat the Seattle, who's hit a slide now. But in the end, San Francisco came out, and they were up big in this game, but they kind of let them back in. It was 3.5-point favorite on the road at Seattle, and in the end did cover that number last night. So I was happy to see that. But now we've got, you mentioned, London Jags. I say at, it's not true. This should be reversed. This is, for some reason, they list Chicago as the home team in London. We all know that the London Jags. But right. The Bears are a 2-point favorite in this game, 44-point total. This is going to be 8:30 a.m. Central Time. That's 3:30 a.m. Hawaii time, just so you know. Look, my numbers tell me that the Bears are a better football team. I know that. I know that the Jags defense sucks. I know that. I can't bet against the Jags here. There's no way. The Jags are in London, and they get to play 2 games in a row. So they may not be as good in this game as the second game, but it'd be Jags or pass for me.
And I'm curious to see how the travel difference, because the Bears went over, I believe, on Tuesday, and the Jags just got there today, I believe. So the Bears are going to definitely be more accustomed to the time change, but I guess the Jags do get 2 weeks there, so that's neither here nor there. That's kind of my curiosity, especially in the beginning of the game. Like, does it make that big of a difference early? Because I think if whatever team can get out to a quick start, I think it's going to be over. I don't think, because if you can make one of these teams be, I guess, one-dimensional, that is definitely going to be a huge advantage for whichever team isn't. So, yeah. I have faith in Caleb. I think the Bears, if they can keep running the ball, that's the thing. they've actually had more than 30 attempts the last 3 weeks of rushing. So I think that balance, hopefully Shane Waldron, everybody keeps saying he's got his head out of his ass. I think it's because of him playing bad defenses. I'm still a little suspect on him, but I'm buying into the optimism around this city. I'm going with the Bears.
Yeah, it
Down
makes
Bears.
sense that the Jags have given up 400 yards to every offense this year except for the Cleveland Browns, and that was still 380 yards. So all the metrics tell you that the Bears are the better team. And to your point, usually the team that goes over on Thursday, Friday to London is the loser in this game. But who knows? It's hard to say. I'm just pulling the old adage that never bet against the Jags in London. Okay, regular time, noon central games. You've got Arizona at Green Bay. This is down to 4.5 in the contest, but the market's like 5.5. So I'm not sure what's going on here. 47-point total for this one. I'm all over Green Bay. This is one of my 5 picks. I know I'm a Packer fan now. We've discussed it about my futures, but they did what they needed to do against the Rams, and more importantly, I just think that the Arizona, they come off a big win, of course, but the defense is not very good. If Green Bay gets to get their offense going, it's going to be trouble, and I like it. So 4.5, I'll take it all day.
Yeah, I like the rushing attack here from Green Bay against that Arizona defense. I think that they're going to be able to control the game. I think they're going to be able to control the tempo. So, and if you can pressure Kyler Murray, he's definitely a different quarterback. Now, if his escapability starts to show up, we might be in trouble. But I'm riding with you. I'm going with Green Bay.
Nice. Indianapolis is at Tennessee. Tennessee's a 2.5-point favorite at home, 43-point total. Is Flacco playing in this game?
Richardson was last thing I read for fantasy is that they're expecting him to play. He had Richardson had his normal projected fantasy numbers, so that usually points toward them playing.
If he plays, I go with Tennessee. It's pretty simple. Well, no, it's not just him. I don't think he's a bad player. I just think Flacco gives them a better chance to win, personally. I know Will Levis is back starting, which is a scary point. This isn't one of my top 5 picks, but Tennessee's defense is pretty salty, and with Richardson in there, I think they're going to struggle, meaning the Colts. And we know the Colts defense is garbage. So if you want to I would start your fantasy guys if you have Tennessee Titans this week.
Yeah, the biggest question mark for me is Jonathan Taylor. If Jonathan Taylor doesn't play in this game, I would definitely lean Tennessee. But if he does, I would like Indy. And Michael Pittman's going to be out for a couple weeks too, so they're going to be missing their top target as well. I actually think that helps Richardson because they have a good stable of tight ends in Indianapolis. They've got 2 or 3 that are really good. So
Mo Alley Cox,
Mo Alley Cox, Granson is another one. But I think with them running 22 personnel, I think is actually going to help Richardson. It's going to make them more of a power team, which I actually think leans to the favor. So I think it depends on what running back play. I don't think Trey Sermon is a dynamic back. You can look out for Goodson if you're playing fantasy. He had a pretty decent week last week, and he does catch the ball quite a bit out of the backfield. So, but I would lean Indy.
Okay. Well, road divisional road dogs, always a good call. Houston is going to New England this week. They're a 7-point favorite on the road, 38-point total. It's just a big spread. I think New England, people figured out New England. They are going with Drake May, rookie starter, which is always tough. I'm sure there's some energy with that because people are excited about it, but he's playing a pretty good Houston defense. I don't like it for him. So 7 points is just a big number. It's Houston or pass for me.
Yeah, I hate that we're doing this, but I agree. If anything, I think I would take the over in this game. I see a defensive touchdown in Houston's future this week. I think I might take that prop, honestly. I think Will Anderson is going to get a lot of pressure. Obviously, being a rookie, we've seen all the rookie quarterbacks kind of struggle except for Jaden Daniels. So, and it's a revenge game, right, for D'Amico Ryans because he came from the Patriots organization, right?
Did he? Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe.
But
he
was
no, forgive me. It's not D'Amico Ryan. The whole front office from Houston came from New England.
Oh, okay.
So kind of a lot of the front office pieces from Houston, from New England. So I think they're definitely going to want to put some salt in the wound.
Gotcha. All right, we got Tampa at New Orleans, another divisional matchup. Tampa's a 3-point favorite on the road, 41.5-point total. This is tough. No Derek Carr. Do you know anything about, what's his name, Rattler?
No, it's Spencer Rattler. Remember, he went. He played at South Carolina, but he was at Oklahoma right before Lincoln Riley left. His freshman season was Lincoln Riley's last year at Oklahoma.
Is he good?
He's okay. I mean, there's flashes. He shows potential. I wouldn't take him against Todd Bowles. I think Todd Bowles is going to
Right.
show him stuff that he's never seen before. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think this is a really bad spot for him.
Yeah, I like the under in this game because of that. I don't know if Tampa their offense has been playing pretty good, but I don't know. It's these games, divisional games are tough. They're always going to be salty. So yeah, I'm going to stay away from the side. But I hear you. I think Todd Bowles is going to have something for the kid.
Yeah, I like that under too. I would parlay it with the Bucks, I think.
Yeah. Cleveland at Philly. Philly's all the way up to a 10-point favorite in the contest. I think it's 9 or 9.5 in the market. 42.5-point total. Supposedly Philly's getting healthier, which is kind of critical. And we know Cleveland is they're the team that you want to fade right now. But is it too much? 10 points. Sean Watson, is this like their last stand where they're actually going to bounce back and play decent? I can't do it. It's the stinky dog theory. You're supposed to do it if you're better. I just can't do it in this one.
I think Lane Johnson factor in this game. That's kind of how I'm looking at it.
Yep.
Yeah, that the way I see this, it's the team that hates their quarterback versus the team that hates their head coach. So who's going to hate who less is going to, that's a different story. So yeah, Philly's got so much. I mean, I hate the number. If anything, I would take the under in this game. AJ Brown is supposed to be back though, which the Philadelphia offense is completely different when he plays from every kind of statistical metric you can think of. So, and they're
Yeah. Okay, well, let's get to the next game if they come back here. Washington at Baltimore. He's back. Back now? Okay. Washington at Baltimore. Washington is a 6.5-point dog on the road at Baltimore, 51.5-point total. Is this when Cinderella, the clock strikes midnight on Washington? I think so. I think so. I'm sad to say it. I want Jaden to play great. I'm a little worried. The Baltimore defense hasn't played good this year, but they're used to chasing around Lamar in practice, so they're probably used to a mobile quarterback. 6 points, 6.5 is a big number, but I think this is when it happens, and Baltimore puts them down. I'm sorry.
See, I actually hate the number here, just because the weakness of Baltimore's defense is their pass defense. So, Gunshot's been banged up. He did play well last week, but he's still been banged up, and so is Austin Eckler. So I don't know how much they're going to run the ball. To your point, I think game script is going to make Jaden Daniels throw the ball a lot in this game, which I think actually favors the Commanders. So Luke McCaffrey might be a nice pickup in fantasy this week. But I think they keep it inside the number. I think both these defenses aren't very good. I think one's really good against the run, but I think Kyle Hamilton's probably the difference in this game. He'll probably have an interception, just being the freak athlete that he is. So,
gotcha. Okay. Chargers at Denver. Interesting number here. The Chargers are favored by 3 points on the road, 35.
That over under. Oh my God.
I know it's super low, and this is the first 3 o'clock game in Central Time. It's very interesting. All the numbers to me tell me that Denver's a better football team. But I've heard on many podcasts and such that the Chargers are going to be the healthiest they've been, and they're coming off the bye and all that kind of stuff. I can see that as an angle if Denver was favored by 3. I just don't understand why the Chargers are favored here. I understand if it was a pick 'em or a 1, to Denver and then you go Chargers, but I don't like it. To me, it's still Denver pass here, even though maybe I'm being stubborn about it. But the Chargers have to show me that they can cover a number on the road before I would take this.
Yeah, no, and that's when I was looking at this game too. Like the biggest mismatch I can find though is Justin Herbert against their defense, though I feel like, or even the Chargers defense against Bo Nix is probably the biggest mismatch in this game because it's not head coach. Because Sean Payton and Harbaugh, they're both good coaches in their own right. So I would lean for the Chargers just because I think their defense matches better. And I think, obviously they get to a rookie quarterback. Bo Nix has been better as of late. I think it's mostly because Denver's been getting back to the run game and kind of controlling the line of scrimmage. But I think the Chargers defense is too good for them to kind of bully them the way they have played the last couple weeks. So, and kind of took the words out of my mouth in the very beginning, is that they're finally getting healthy. Justin Herbert is obviously dealing with a high ankle sprain, which I think he's going to be dealing with that for the rest of the season. I think it's really going to hinder them moving forward, just because those are obnoxious to heal in season. So, but no, I do like the Chargers here. If I would say if the Chargers lay an egg, I would fade them the rest of the season just because of Justin Herbert's injury.
Right. Okay, so Pittsburgh at the Raiders. As I mentioned, the Raiders are starting Aiden O'Connell now. Pittsburgh's a 3-point favorite on the road, 36.5-point total, really low total again. He's not a rookie. He started plenty last year. He's starting against the Pittsburgh defense. Pittsburgh's dropped a couple in a row, and they're really good against when they lose. So I don't like that they're favored again. It's like I can't back Pittsburgh 3 weeks in a row and lose. So I can't do it in the contest, but I probably would go with the favorite here, Pittsburgh on the road, even though maybe it's like a little boost rate with Aiden O'Connell. Hard to say.
No, I think this is like the biggest game of the season for Justin Fields. I think if he doesn't play well again, he's going to lose his job. So I think I would lean Pittsburgh here. I think you're going to see him run the ball a little more this week.
Yep.
Just because of that, and that's where he separates himself from Russell Wilson. It's not from the pocket; it's what he can do outside of it. So I think you're going to see that incorporate him more. I think it's going to give the Raiders defense a little bit of trouble. I would still take the under just because I don't think the Raiders are going to score a lot of points. Jacoby Myers is questionable. He's been their best receiver since Devontae Adams isn't playing. And so that just leaves you with Brock Bowers. And I think they can match up well with the tight end. The Steelers can. So I would go Steelers here. If they lose 3 in a row, they're going to have a real problem because they're going to have a nice quarterback saga on their hands. That's for sure. So, and again,
and maybe you'll get that under for the season, like you thought. Mike Tomlin.
Well, I knew that the beginning of the season it would not look good because their beginning of their schedule is not very difficult. Like the Cowboys are by far the hardest team, the best team they've played, and the Cowboys really aren't even that good. So
right,
yeah.
Okay, so Detroit going to Dallas, kind of a marquee matchup in the NFC. Another road favorite. Coop, this week, 12 road favorites and 2 home favorites. This is setting up for a lot of upsets again, so a lot of underdogs to me. But Detroit is a 3-point favorite on the road, 52-point total. Detroit's coming off the bye. Oh, they're going to be all geared up. I just think it's a lot of disrespect for Dallas. I know Dallas isn't as good. We've discussed it, but 3 points. I'm on the Cowboys here. I think Detroit's a little overvalued.
I could not disagree with you more. Yeah. I think that's the best that the Cowboys are going to play all season. Is what we just probably saw. The level of offensive line play between the Steelers and the Lions is completely night and day. The Steelers are like 18th in offensive line efficiency. The Lions are like first or second. So you're going basically 2 tiers up the mountain. And the way that I just think the way that the Lions entered the bye playing, rushing the ball, getting back to kind of who they are, I think is just a really bad match. I was on this like 2 weeks ago. I wish Caesar were here so I can be like, hey, come here, tell me what I told you. But I was on this like 2 weeks ago. I think it was 2.5 when I first saw it. I should have jumped on it then. But I'm surprised that it is not more than 3. I figured it'd be more like 4 or 5. So I think you're getting really good value there. Plus, it's in a dome. We know Jared Goff plays well in a dome. So you don't have to worry about the elements in this game.
You got no Micah Parsons. I totally get it. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe you're right. I think that's the kind of square play is like, oh, Detroit just scored 40 points on Seattle. They're going to come off of it. But I don't like that they're favored by more like 3 points. If it's 2.5, maybe it's just a tough one. I don't like it. I like Dallas. All right. So Atlanta at Carolina. Another road favorite. Atlanta 6-point favorite. Carolina 47-point total. The gleam has come off the red rifle. Atlanta's playing well. The last time we saw Atlanta, they were, scoring at will. Against and throwing like 5 touchdowns or 500 yards for Kirk Cousins. So I get why they're favored by 6. 47-point total. It's a divisional game. I don't like divisional games when they're this big. And this is the zone. I'm not saying Carolina's going to win the game, but this is the zone that dogs of 5.5 or more are like an insane win percentage this year, especially against the spread. So It's a stinky dog. I wouldn't necessarily recommend for the context, but I think Carolina +6.
I have such a hard time with this game because the Falcons have had 10 days to sit there and figure out how they're going to pick apart a Carolina defense that's literally playing like third and fourth stringers at this point.
Yeah.
But to your point, speaking of zone, like that's all Atlanta plays. So they're not going to, they have like the lowest pressure rate in the league, and they can, Andy Dalton can just sit back there and he's good enough to where if you don't pressure him, he'll find the guy. You know what I mean? We've seen that. So I don't want to say I'm with you, but I would stay away from this game. This smelly dog, you're talking like, get this damn dog out of the house. It stinks.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. I would take the over.
Panther.
I'd feel good about the over. But yeah, that's 6th number. If I had to, you put a gun to my head, I would take Atlanta. But
makes sense. All right, 2 more games.
I'm just gonna take the over and leave this one alone.
Smart. 2 more games. Cincinnati at the Giants. Cincinnati's a 3.5-point favorite on the road. Have I said that before? 47.5 point total on Sunday Night Football. I do like the Bengals here. I know that the Giants played really well at Seattle, and Daniel Jones is playing great. The defense is, whatever. Cincinnati's defense sucks, but Burrow's got to rally the troops. They got to win this game. We know they got to win. So 3.5 is a terrible number. I'm not going to say it's not, but I know it's going to be an unpopular pick in the contest. That's why I'm doing it. Cincinnati Bengals 3.5. They're gonna house this team. They're gonna run all over this team. I'll throw all over this team.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know. The defensive line for the Giants is really good. That's the only thing that bothers me about that number. That's why I would play the hook if I were. I agree with playing the hook here. But yeah, it's just such a mismatch at quarterback. It's hard to ignore. So I would take the 3.5, and just because the Giants can't run the football, but we'll see what happens. It's Sunday night. You just never know. And the Bengals to your point, the Bengals have looked good the last 2 weeks. They can score. They just can't stop anybody.
Can't stop anybody. All right, last game, Buffalo at the Jets. Buffalo's a 2.5-point favorite on the road, 41-point total. Monday Night Football. I don't like it because, Aaron Rodgers in the shed, but dead cat bounce, baby.
Yeah, maybe. I was waiting for it.
Dead pat. Jeff Ulbrich, who's the defensive coordinator, is the interim coach. I think he's going to try to hold people accountable, and I think you're going to see Rodgers' best game. Buffalo, we talked about, homeboy, what's his name? Jesus, Josh Allen. Him being he should be in concussion protocol, but isn't. So I really like the Jets in this one. +2.5, probably money line too.
Yeah, no, I like the Jets here. I've been waiting all week for you to say dead cat bounce. So, yeah, no, I'm with the Jets. To your point, and Buffalo's banged up on defense. Also, They didn't have 4 starters against Houston. They may not have 2 out of the 4 again this week. So, I think they're hurting the wrong spots, and I think there's just so much pressure on the Jets. It's either now or never. Like they could be in first place after this game.
Right. That's right.
So.
Okay, so let's run down the picks. Sorry to rush this, Coop, because I got to call in a couple minutes here. We've got I like San Francisco. That's already in the books, so great. But for the contest, got to pick 5 more. I like Green Bay -4.5. I know Dallas, we're against each other there, +3. I like the Jets +2.5. Cincinnati -3.5. And then this one, never bet against the Jags. If I got to pick a 6th one, Jags +2. How about yourself?
Nice. I have Detroit -3. I have the Jets at +2.5. I'm taking the Bucks at -3. I'm riding with you on your Packers at -4.5, and I'm taking the Steelers at +3 against the Raiders.
Raiders. That's good. Just quick updates on the contest. I guess we're long out, but I don't feel bad now because there's only 221 people left out of 14,266 after 5 weeks. That's insane. The number 1 pick again lost last week, so it's just every week if you pick the top team, you might as well just chalk it up. We had a kind of crappy week. 2 and 3 were way down there, but hey, we got to keep bouncing, keep grinding. Mama Wegs is in town, Coop, as I mentioned, so we're going to have some fun. Maybe go to the North Shore. She's just kind of sitting out there reading books and stuff. And now we went to the pool last night. So what do you got for your weekend?
Nothing too crazy. Like I said, we're going to Michigan, hang out in New Buffalo, and then just Sunday brunch, little football, little champagne, little orange juice. Ooh. So we'll mimosa it up, watching some football probably. But other than that, nothing too crazy.
Love it. Well,
our Pan's birthday is tomorrow.
That's right.
As well.
You guys are going to Hop Leaf, right?
I think so. Yeah, we'll be back a little bit later, so I don't know if we'll get there right as it starts. So
Yeah, a little hop leaf, little Simons, never hurt nobody, you know?
never can't get no respect.
That's right. Well, follow us at Side Action Pod on X and Side Action Podcast on Instagram. Follow me on X and Instagram at Wegspool.
Nice. And you can check me out on Instagram at Dalton Cooper, on X at Mr. Grumpy Gills. We are the Side Action Podcast. Make sure to check us out next week. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you then.
Great. Thanks for the 200th episode, guys. And I love the background.
Oh, dude.
All right. Take care, everybody.